Welcome to another episode of the Finding Serenity in the Midst of Chaos podcast. Today, we are talking about how to embrace and approach career and life changes with our guest, Irene Caminiti. This episode is especially for you if you are considering career change or a fresh start in another area of your life. If you're feeling stuck in a path chosen years ago that no longer feels fulfilling, and you're seeking motivation to pursue something new despite the fear of unknown. You will love this episode because by the end of it, you will feel inspired to explore new paths that align with your values and passions. You'll gain a new perspective on how to deal with the fear of change, and you'll discover a way to build courage to take the first step towards more fulfilled life. So stay tuned because this is going to be an exciting episode. So welcome to today's guest, Irene Caminiti. Hi, Irene.
Hi Tulai, and hello and welcome everyone who is listening to this podcast.
Yes.
Thank you so much for making me your guest today. I'm honored to be here.
Oh my God, this is the most exciting episode yet. For those of you who don't know, of course, most of you, that would be Irene and I used to work together. That was like 10 years ago, wasn't it? That was
Yes,
10 years ago. We used to work together. We only worked together for maybe a year, if that. But even then, we connected at a soul level, I would say, in such a nice way. We used to have lunch together. We used to have nice chats together. So, and I think Irene, not too far after that, she left to pursue other things, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today because her story is going to inspire you as much as it inspired me all the time. So, Irene, please, first of all, tell us who you are, what you do, and who you help.
um, at the moment, I am helping entrepreneurs and professionals who have an amazing product or service to sell to do it with joy and authenticity. And I empower them to go through the sales process with confidence and without feeling uncomfortable.
Yes,
So this is where I'm currently at.
okay.
But as you said, my background is different as we used
Yeah.
to work together in research and development in the food industry.
Wow.
So my background is mainly science.
Hmm.
However, there was a change in my life, actually many changes that led
Yeah.
me where I am now.
Yes, I'm dying to know, and probably our listeners too. What, I mean, science and sales, they're two big different things, people might think. But then, of course, there are some similarities, I'm sure you will tell us. But tell us why and how you made that big change from science to sales.
Um, it seems to be a big change, but somehow people evolve and change, and the results of that internal change will manifest in the outside.
Yeah.
Um, After school, I decided to pursue a master in industrial chemistry. I really loved those years of studying, understanding how nature works,
Yeah.
and then I continued. Something moved me into the food science field,
Mm.
and I have to say that wasn't my passion. And although I did a very fun PhD, especially for the people I met rather than the topic. And
Fun and
and
PhD. I was like, oh, okay.
yes,
I'm sure
which
it will be fun for
is
some.
there. The papers are there.
Yeah.
Eventually, the path directed me into working in the food industry.
Mm.
However, as I kept on working in there, somehow I could feel more and more disalignment with what I really wanted to do and my values.
Mm.
And as I grew older, I became more and more health conscious. So, working
Yeah.
in doing processed food that perhaps is not really healthy sometimes, not
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
but that's a different topic. So
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And one of my best boss in the food industry told me I would be really good at sales. So he put this idea in my head,
Ah.
and I started looking for sales roles in the food industry. However, I couldn't find any job because I had zero experience with sales.
Mm.
I only knew I loved being with people, interacting with them, and eventually I was recruited by an American direct sales company. At that time, I used to live in the UK, and
Okay.
they gave me the opportunity to learn. They provided very good trainings, and I was a very good student. So I started experiencing the sales.
Mm.
I left the job. Actually, the job was the contract finished. So I found myself in a situation whether I had to choose whether to continue working in the food industry or completely change my career so that I could feel happier and more fulfilled.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was still an adventure because starting something new wasn't easy, but I was charged by the enthusiasm of something new.
Yeah.
And what I was selling was something healthy that could enhance the well-being of people and their health. So
Yeah.
there was this combination of factors that helped me move towards that direction. Although I
Mm.
didn't have a salary, I was working on commission, so it was completely new. My
Yeah.
enthusiasm brought me to sales, and you might wonder what I was selling. Well, I became eventually the queen of saucepans.
Wow.
So from a lab, I moved into door to door, knocking to people doors to get new leads, prospects, to show them a healthier way of cooking. So
Mm.
that was my anchor in my heart, my passion for healthy living,
Yeah.
and yeah, and this helped me, and it was an opportunity for me to also move in another continent. So not only I changed career, but I also changed life,
Wow.
moving into East Africa, where I pursued this career. And from consultant, I became an entrepreneur, the CEO of my own company, running a direct sales company, managing people, and completely having a new job role, which, yes, which gave me more challenges and more
Wow.
life experience.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there because my head is spinning already that you, from working in a lab after doing a PhD, which is a very analytical and very left brain kind of way of working, to tapping into people's emotions and selling them something they don't even know that they needed at that point in time. That's a huge difference. And one of the things is that we fear change, whether it's to go with a completely new outfit to work, to do a presentation in front of people, or to even, change country, change job, change career, all three at the same time. How do you deal with the fear of change?
The fear of change is there. It
Okay.
is freaking scary to make these changes.
Yeah.
The key point is understanding what are you afraid of,
Mm,
and most of the times is because we don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah.
We hold into what we know and what we have. So by holding it, we don't let new opportunities come in.
Mm,
My teacher the other day gave an example which I'm gonna repeat, although maybe it's not the same, but just imagine this monkey which is putting his hands through the bars of a prison.
yeah.
The hand is there, somebody gives him some peanuts, and this monkey is holding on those peanuts. But by
Mhm.
holding on them, the monkey cannot move.
Okay.
So it's prisoner of these small peanuts.
Yeah.
So most of the times we look at those peanuts and we feel secure because of that.
Mm,
However, if we let go of those peanuts, then we are more free to move around
yeah.
and perhaps find a castle of peanuts, or perhaps hazelnuts, which are my
Mm.
favorite nuts,
Yeah,
or
mine
cashew
too.
nuts, or macadamia nuts, you know what I mean? So this
Yeah.
is just a symbolic example to know and to understand that we are often prisoners of our mind.
Yeah.
And the fear of letting go of the security, of perhaps the stability of having a salary, or the comfort of being in the same place, doesn't allow us to explore new opportunities.
Yeah.
And in my case, there was an inner force which was moving me towards living life more intensely. Um, Normally, people tell me I'm courageous. However, I don't feel the courage. I feel the life and the will of living it, and to exploring opportunities, of having new experiences which will make me grow. So,
is that what you meant by intense? Just can you explain a little bit more about living life with intensity? What does that look like?
well, is like being adventurous and an explorer. Perhaps you might find yourself being in a forest, and you want to find out what is here, what is on the right side, what is on the left side. That curiosity can move you towards exploring new areas. You might find a river, you might find a beer, So, uh, so I found many beers, if I pronounce it correctly.
Yeah.
Sorry about my English, but
okay, yeah.
This will allow you not to be stuck in one place.
Sure.
That is what gave me the force and the will to change. However, for example, I recently moved from East Africa to Europe again, and making that decision was also very difficult, because you might find yourself again holding in what you have, and holding on what you have built so far, and the fact that you are letting go what you have built, the network, the people, the name, into moving into something completely new. It is like moving into a bridge which is not that stable, and to go through it, or to move across it, it requires the ability to believe that there is earth again after that bridge. And you must be trusting that there is a new opportunity for you, and hence you have to believe that there is more from what you have to what you can be. You can be good, but they can be great. So that belief allows me to make the change.
Wow. Oh my God. Again, it's mind-blowing what you're saying. And I'm going to go back to what you said about the fear. I don't know what's going to happen. And I want to just dismantle this a little bit for our listeners, is that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. As you're sitting now listening, as you're walking in your morning walk and listening to this podcast, you still don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Just the fact that you're having to do the same things every day, going to work, coming home, doing this, doing that, just because you kind of know, in inverted commas, this is what your day is going to look like. You feel like you know what's going to happen, but you don't. We just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Whether you move to a whole new country, or whether you've been living in your same space, but your brain's main function is to keep you safe. And whether that is to keep you in the discomfort of feeling stuck, because that's still safe, or, you know, doing whatever you do on a daily basis, that's still safe for you. And anything outside of that, whether it is a simple thing, like I said, taking a new bus to a new route, or going to a whole new country, it is still unsafe. And you clearly trained your brain well enough, because you moved from Italy to UK, you moved from UK to Africa, and you moved from Africa to Europe again. So you are obviously training yourself to take those big leaps. And my coach says, leap and the net will appear, just like that wobbly bridge you were talking about. The bridge may be wobbly, it's because of the feelings and our brain associated with what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And this stops most people taking that action, even as simple as going into coaching with someone. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know whether I could change and all of this sort of stuff. Well, you would, if you tried, you will do it. So it's very fascinating to listen, and it is very good example of we can override that fear. We don't have to give into it. Fear will exist no matter what, no matter what new thing you're going to do. It's going to exist. It existed for me when I did a video live for the first time. It existed for me when I did a coaching call for the first time. It exists for me when I did this podcast for the first time on camera, whatever. But it's, if I gave into it, we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't grow, we wouldn't evolve. So that's really fascinating. And I wanted to reiterate that point for everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. So what advice would you give to someone who's willing to make a change but needs more courage? You said about courage, which is a very important quality to have, of course, when you get into these big steps in your life.
So the advice would be, and by any means, I don't want to encourage people to do drastic changes, perhaps
Unless they
like I
have to,
did.
right?
um, and uh, and of course, sometimes changes can be coming from external factors.
Sure.
So perhaps your contract ends, your husband has to move from one place to another place, this kind of external events that help you make a decision, or it can be internal. It can be your inner force that is requiring you to feel more aligned with what you want and more fulfilled. So going back to your question, is realize why and what do you want to change. So if there is a situation of discomfort, what creates that discomfort and why is that? So it all starts with the self-awareness and observation, inner observation of emotions and feelings. So once you have realized this, then perhaps you want to know where to go. And I have to be honest, sometimes I don't know exactly where I want to go, but I know I don't want to be there.
Yes.
So already that's a starting point.
Yes.
Once you have ideas of where you want to be and how can you get those ideas is by having the thermometer of your feelings. Actually, while I do this, I feel better. I feel more enthusiastic. I feel joyful. So that can be an indication that that direction is more for you. So be in that state. Visualize yourself doing that, making that change. And perhaps if that's the direction that makes you feel happier, then talk to people that are doing what you want to do. With the online opportunities, you can observe or be part of communities that are doing what you want to do. In this way, you can start understanding the how you can get from where you are to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because our mind needs to believe that whatever was unconceivable before starts becoming possible by knowing how that can happen.
Yeah. And that's the
So
reason why most people stop. I can't do it because I don't know how to do it. And that stops there, isn't it? If you don't know how
find
to do
out.
it, I can't. That's it. I won't do it. That's
So
really
it's
good. Yeah.
important to find out how, somehow, through your mind. At least that works for me, because you may want to be going to the moon, but how is that possible? Find out how did they go to the moon, if they ever went there.
Yeah. Okay. That's a whole different conversation.
I'm just saying as an example. So find out how you can be there, and then take the first step. It doesn't have to be a huge change immediately, but as you move towards the direction of happiness, of more fulfillment, already your state, your vibration will tell you are going to the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have another indicator,
Okay.
which is if you don't find too many resistances, then it means that's your right path. When you start seeing that there are too many obstacles for you to get there, then you need to know, why is this obstacle coming? It's just testing me that I shouldn't go there, or is it because I should not be going through towards that direction? So everything that happens around us is a sign for us to think and reflect, and also identify whether that's what we really want to do, and if this is our real true desire. Because desires not only come from our heart, sometimes they come from our mind. They are desires that don't belong to us. So we can be stubborn in going through to go towards that direction, but that is not the real direction. So I've been stubborn to go towards some directions, to realize that I wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay.
And that disalignment and not feeling fulfilled made me realize I wasn't in the right place. Hence the decision to make a change.
Okay, that's interesting. I love you said, listen to your body, look at the indications, but how do we resistance? Sometimes when we are in fear, the fear will come up with all these reasons, all these obstacles. How does one discern the difference between whether it's actually fear talking, or trying to pull you back into the comfort zone, or this is truly not what you want? What is the distinction?
That's a very good question, and ask yourself.
Yeah.
Ask the question to yourself: what is this? Where is this coming from? Because in theory, we have all the answers
We have, yeah.
inside us, but that disconnection doesn't allow us to listen to what is coming from ourselves. So if you are not sure about it, then ask yourself, where is this coming from? And perhaps you won't get the answer immediately. You might get your answer when you're walking with your dog, or you are going to the gym, or you're having a walk. So keep asking that question to know. And inside you, the vibration of your body will tell you whether it's something, it's the passion that within you moves you towards one direction, or it is the will of somebody else who wants you to be there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Being able to have that heightened awareness, or even allowing ourselves to have that awareness and be in our body, to listen to our body. I mean, we've done a couple of episodes now about exactly this, listening to our body, clearing our energy so we can feel and we can see the signs, because the signs are always there anyway. But if we're not open to it, we're not going to see it. So, and this is great, asking a question: is this really what I want, or am I, afraid of something or whatever? But then don't just give up when the answer doesn't come, because the answers can come at when you least expect it, when you are patient, when you're in your silence, when you allow it to come, isn't it? That's, oh my God, it's so good.
And there is another thing that perhaps can help is when it's true passion, there is an inner fire that leads you towards the achievement of your goal. And that fire, it is so strong that everybody, I suppose, can recognize it.
Yes, they can, I'm sure.
And if
carry on, sorry.
no, if we don't recognize it, then we train ourselves by keeping on asking ourselves.
Yes. And what I was going to say, which is fascinating as well, that the fact that you're even asking a question to yourself, is this really what I want, is already the first step to making that change, isn't it? Because if it didn't come, you said, as we grow and evolve, we change, and we grow out of the situations and the places that we are in, and even the people. And that means the fact that you're asking means you're evolved, and you're no longer belong there. It's something else for you. It's what that something else is. You need to allow for it to come to you by asking the right questions. And if it was a thought in your head once, anything actually like this, if anything that you see in your reality right now was once a thought in your life many years ago. And again, this shows you that even though you may not know what the next step is and what will happen tomorrow, you know that this will lead you somewhere. And sometimes life is choice. We can make one choice, we can make another. It's not that difficult to change the choices. Kat has just joined us. Irene's cats, which is nice. Oh, hello, look at that. Fantastic. So, Irene, well, thank you so much for coming today. It was amazing talking to you. So please tell our listeners where they can find you.
So you can find me on LinkedIn regarding social media, and also Facebook. There is a page that I can give you the link to.
Yeah.
And I have a website. So if you want to directly contact me from there, you can feel free to do that.
Yeah.
And I'll be happy to get in touch with people who would like to hear more about this.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is really good. And I actually like what you said about the sales part, because that's, again, we put up so much resistance, so much difficulty because of all the other beliefs about how sales are done and whatever. So that's really interesting to hear. I'm sure people will be interested, and we will put all of those into the show notes for people to find you and reach you, send you messages. So that's amazing. Well, thank you for being our guest today. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thanks so much. Thanks everybody who has been here up to the end. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Irene. Well, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Finding Serenity in the Midst of Chaos podcast. If you love this episode as much as we did, please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss another episode like this, because we will be having even more guests. And make sure to share this episode with someone else so that they can benefit from it too. Have a nice day.